Hey guys, it's Ensign Blood here. Let's talk about hepatitis today. So hepatitis is a viral infection which, if chronic and untreated, causes inflammation and fibrosis to the liver, eventually resulting in cirrhosis, which can then go to end-stage cirrhosis, so more of the systemic picture, and potentially hepatocellular carcinoma. So when you're trying to diagnose hepatitis, an LFT or a liver function test is really important because we can look at markers for hepatic stress. So those are your transaminases like AST or ALT. One thing that we'll point to in etiology is the AST to ALT ratio, because if it's greater than 2, it suggests that it might be due to alcoholic cirrhosis as opposed to a viral based cirrhosis. So if we want to look at biliary tree stress, ALK-Phos or alkaline phosphatase is a common marker. But the problem is that that's a little bit nonspecific because it's also in bone and placenta. So for instance, a growing child might have increased ALK-Phos. So another more specific marker is GGT. Other things that people might look at are the bilirubin levels, because your patient becomes visibly jaundiced around 2 to 3 milligrams of per deciliter of total bili or higher. So you can further break down the total bili into your direct, which is tracked by conjugated bili, or your indirect, which is tracked by unconjugated. And here for direct, you might associate this more with cirrhosis because this is due to injury or obstruction, intrahepatic or extrahepatic, as opposed to before the breakdown product gets to the liver itself, i.e. prehepatic. So talking about the different viruses that cause hepatitis, you have hepatitis A through E. So the way that I like to organize this is starting with the vowels, because I like to remember the mnemonic. The vowels hit your bowels, because A and E are transmitted through the oral fecal route. They cause a lot of nausea and vomiting, but they're self-resolving. So the thing to remember is that E in particular can be really dangerous to the mother and the baby during third trimester because it can cause fulfillment infection. Hepatitis D is actually typically clinically irrelevant by itself, but if a patient has a pre-existing hepatitis B infection, then the Hep D can cause this super infection. Now, what we're going to focus on today are the hepatitis B and C, because those are the ones that are associated with chronic hepatitis. So B is important because it's the only DNA virus out of the 5, so the rest are RNA, and it's transmitted sexually and vertically. Hepatitis C is associated with IV drug use and actually people born between 1945 to 1965, so good population to screen. So monitoring Hep C is a little bit more straightforward because basically like A, D, and E, we can just look at the IgG or the IgM. So remember, IgM elevates during acute phase of an infection, and IgG suggests that there's immunity. Now conversely, if you want to monitor the response of a patient to a given treatment, you can actually just do a PCR of the virus and see what the load is by viral DNA or RNA. So even though it's falling out of favor, another diagnostic tool is a liver biopsy. Basically, if that patient has inflammation or fibrotic change in their liver, you're going to want to start an antiviral, even if they're asymptomatic, because remember, cirrhosis is irreversible. So I'm going to circle these antivirals because unfortunately I'm terrible at pronouncing their names. So I apologize for that, but hopefully this is instructive for you. So again, you treat these patients if you confirm hepatitis C and they have symptoms, or if they have an abnormal biopsy, whether or not they have symptoms. So at first blush, hepatitis B is a little scary to track, but let me break it down for you. So instead of focusing on this below window that you probably remember from pre-clerkship, I like to focus on the above table. And the key, I think, here is to remember your C or core antibody is associated with exposure. Your S or surface antigen is associated with infection. And your surface antibody is associated with immunity. So let's go through this. So up at the top, your core antibody, right? Your body makes antibodies in response to exposure. So that means that anybody that's been exposed is going to make an antibody, except if that person has already been immunized, because the vaccine is with the surface antigens. So the surface antigen itself, antigens are infections, so they mimic. And there's only two types of infections you can have, either acute or chronic. So that's the only place it's going to be positive. Now, if you have a surface antibody, then you have immunity. And remember how I said before, you're immunizing people with the surface antigen or surface antigen-like vaccine. So you're going to have an antibody if they're immunized or if they've cleared the infection. So hopefully that makes things a little easier for tracking. Now, with hepatitis B, you can also do the biopsy and see inflammation or fibrotic change or transaminitis and the other symptoms we talked about. And in this case, you want to start antivirals as well. Here, you're using a little bit more familiar antivirals, tenofovir and lamivudine. Some people use interferon, but it's falling a little bit out of favor because it has these flu-like side effects. And in this case, you start the antivirals even in the absence of the symptoms. So what we like to do is actually vaccinate, right? So we're trying to prevent everything. And typically vaccination for Hep B starts around 2 months in infants. But if people haven't received vaccinations, we'd like to give vaccines to healthcare workers and IV drug users because they're obviously at a higher risk. Now, to remember the results of systemic cirrhosis, I like to go through Cirrhosis Man. So I'm sorry, he's a little scary looking, but I think this will help. So the first thing I like to break it down into is kind of the global hallmarks of cirrhosis. So remember, the person's going to look jaundiced because of that bilirubin. They're going to have this kind of stone-hard liver that's basically small and fibrous. So basically you can feel the liver. If it's associated with hepatocellular carcinoma picture, it might be enlarged, so you get hepatomegaly. Conversely, you can have portal hypertension, and remember that the body sort of compensates by all of these varices, so you get caput medusa or potentially esophageal varices, and if one of these bursts, that's a medical emergency, right? So remember that the liver is really important for making protein, so if the liver is chronically damaged, you get reduced production of albumin, and what that does is it distorts the flux of fluid between bodily compartments, so these people can get basically ascites, and this ascites can be infected, so you can get this spontaneous peritoneal bacterial infection, which is also an emergency. Conversely, these people can lose the bleeding factor, the coagulation factors, so they can have bleeding disorders, or they can lose immunoglobulins and acute phase proteins, so they can be immunosuppressed. Now, people can also get excess estrogen, and so I like to kind of say red estrogen because spider angiomata, so these little red blood vessels all over the place appear, especially on the chest, and they get these red palms because of palmar erythema. Men will also get gynecomastia and hypogonadism, and everybody will get increased thyroglobin binding proteins. So basically what these do is they bind up all of the free T3 and 4, but they'll have a normal TSH, so that might be something you're asked about. Now finally, they can get encephalopathy because of increased circulating ammonia in the system. So again, let's go through the major points. Remember your LFTs because those can point towards a hepatitis etiology. Now Hep D is the only DNA virus, Hep C is an RNA, and they can become chronic where the valves hit the bowels and then resolve. Hep C, you're tracking with IgM if it's acute, IgG if you have immunity. Hep B, you're looking at the core antibody if they're exposed, the surface antigen if they're currently infected, or the surface antibody if they're immune. And don't forget about Cirrhosis Man. All right, guys, great job. Keep studying hard.